And welcome, everybody. My God, what a rough 2 months. But I'm here. People are going to say, Joe, why are you not on a truck? You left us to go drive a truck. Why aren't you out on the truck? We'll get there. You got a lot to get into with me. What's up, Stone Man? Thank you for coming in tonight. It's all about me tonight, guys. I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown about what's been going on with me for the last 2 months. We're not going to talk much wrestling. Quite frankly, because I have not watched wrestling in 2 months. Haven't seen an episode of Raw. Haven't seen a pay-per-view episode of SmackDown. I read about it, but I have no way of watching it on the road. I did go to CWF last Saturday, which was an awesome show. CWF Worldwide is returning soon. They had their very first ever stream on Twitch live, which went really well. Yeah, it was only one camera angle, whatever the case may be, but I thought it went off really well. Really, really well. So let's get into me a little bit. Let's get into me. I don't really like talking about myself all that much. Yeah, it was this past Saturday at 8. I think they went live at like 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It was a really good show. But you can go back to twitch.tv/CWF Mid-Atlantic and view it. But so a month and a half ago, I basically shut down the podcast. I shut down the after show. I shut down everything here at the New Surge Live or from Pillar to Post Studios. And I said I was going to go drive a truck for a living. Again, I had previously held my commercial driver's license, or CDL. And then I was kind of forced to give it up back in 2013. Yeah, 2013, 2014. May have been 2015, but I had not driven a truck since 2013, late 2013. And so I went back to driving a truck. I was going to go to a company called Prime Inc., or I have gone to a company called Prime Inc. They haul primarily refrigerated units, so stuff going from grocery stores, frozen foods, refrigerated foods, flours, basically anything that has to be refrigerated. We can haul some non-refrigerated stuff too, but they prefer to handle refrigerated or reefer units. So when I was going to do this, I said, okay, let's do some research. I found Prime Inc. Prime Inc. had a program where you could get your CDL again, because I did not have money to go back to a community college and get it again. So Prime Inc. had this deal where you could go there. They put you up in a hotel. They feed you 3 squares a day. And they give you the training necessary to go out and get your CDL. They like I said, they bring you in, they feed you, they put you up for that first week, and after the first week, you go out on the road delivering loads with a CDL instructor. More on that later too. We're gonna get into all this. We're gonna get into my whole Prime experience so far. For the most part, it's been good. Doesn't really have a bad thing to say about the company. So back on May 13th, I went, so it's been almost a month, or 2 months. Back on May 13th, boarded a bus, had a 22-hour bus ride to Springfield, Missouri. Supposed to get there at 10:30. Ended up getting there at 12:30. Let me just say one thing first about this Greyhound stuff, man. This company, Greyhound, used to be the shit back in the day. The shit. Greyhound used to be awesome back in like the 70s and 60s and stuff. You board the Greyhound. And the technology has come such a long way that you think the company would be better, but they're not. These drivers cannot drive worth an ass. They are rude as fuck. The people that they're letting on these buses nowadays don't even belong in a porta potty, let alone a Greyhound bus. Oh, I'll put it to you this way. I took 2 showers when I got off that bus. I washed my ass twice when I got to that hotel. So I get to Missouri, I step off the bus, call the shuttle. The shuttle takes me to the lovely Campus Inn, and it's a hotel. It's a hotel that Prime Inc. has purchased, and they run it like their student hotel. That's where their students stay. It's a very nice hotel. The food, they give you 3 square wash your ass. They gave they gave me food every day, a lot of food. They're like, hey, you get a meal card and you get $5 for lunch, $7 for lunch and dinner. You get a lot of food for that amount of money. And the food was okay. The breakfast there was but the rest of it was okay. The hotel, of course, I was with a roommate because that's how trucking companies do things. You get a roommate usually. The roommate that I had, and his name is Kenny, really nice guy. The problem is I walk in, the dude's 3 times the size of me. I don't know, who am I to criticize, right, when it comes to weight? And he has one of those damn CPAP machines. For sleep apnea, which is essentially a oxygen machine that pumps oxygen into you because with sleep apnea, you stop breathing while you sleep. So he has, we'll get there, John. Yes, I am feeling a little bit better. This guy goes, I get in there, and I was lucky. I got in on a early Sunday, so I had all day Sunday to recover from the bus ride. They give you some paperwork you got to fill out by Monday morning for class. I filled that out. But this CPAP machine, it sounds like a fucking air compressor going off all night long, combined with the fact that this dude snores like a motherfucker. So for that first week I was there at Prime, I really did not get a full night's sleep. So we got in there on Monday, and that Monday it was Monday, May, would have been the 14th. Let me see here. Yeah, the 14th, and they tell you class starts at 7, get there at 6:30, or get there before 7, because if you're late getting to a simple fucking orientation class, you're going to be late when it comes to delivering or picking up loads when you're out there on the road. And, of course, you have motherfuckers showing up at 8 o'clock. You have motherfuckers showing up at 7:30, 7:15, interrupting the class. This poor woman, I won't mention her name, she's trying to get everybody's name and get all the paperwork together and give everybody the rundown of what's going to happen. And these motherfuckers come for a job and they show up late. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has a cell phone nowadays. About 90% of the cell phones out there have alarm clocks. Set it. They also, because it's a hotel, gave you a wake-up call at 5:45 every day. So you have no excuse to be late. There were people still on Wednesday of orientation week. Here it is, 3 days into it, that were still showing up at like 7:45 and 8 o'clock. They're lucky they weren't fired, because if it was my company, they would be. But anyway, so they bring you in, they tell you how the first week is going to go and what's going to happen after. And then you got to do a physical, you got to do an endurance test, you got to do a drug test, and you got to do a file review, basically checking your work history and all that jazz. So after a day of, and I was so worried because I take a shit ton of medication. And they did what they call a pre-screen on me about 2 weeks before, where I told them the medication, how much I take of it, what it's used for, and they were like, okay, that's fine. You can drive a commercial motor vehicle with it. And no, I actually passed the drug test. You'd be surprised, though, how many people, again, come to work for a trucking company that is federally regulated by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association, the FMCSA. And they tell you ahead of time, you have to take a drug. Stone Man says I'd fail. But you have to take a drug test. They tell you well ahead of time. They will even will tell you, if you don't think you're going to pass a drug test this Monday, we'll bring you in at another time. They are willing to work with you. You would not believe we had a class of 104. By day 2, it was knocked down to about 60 people because of the fact that people were failing their drug test and failing their physical. So after Monday, you have to pee in the cup and get your balls groped and give them your whole life story, basically, as far as employment goes. I mean, they want to know everything you've ever done. Monday night, chill. Now, they also have Tuesday, you have to go and get your permit, your learner's permit. You cannot bring your learner's permit from another state into Missouri, except for Illinois. Let me see here. American Lucha Designs. Oh, nice. That's a nice one, American Lucha. So anyway, Tuesday you have to go into Missouri, get the Missouri DMV. You got to get your permit. You got to pass tests. Again, they're telling you got to get, they tell you well before they bring you there. Study this, download this app, study for this test. And of course, you have people failing the test 3 or 4 times, getting sent home at the end of the week for not having their permit. I got mine on the first try, lucky me. And so Tuesday you get your permit. They also have every day during the week what they call a simulator class, which is a big-ass simulator, and it acts as if you were, quote-unquote, in a real truck. It's nothing like the real thing, and it's more or less a glorified video game, but don't call it a video game around there. They get offended. So basically, this was kind of hell week for me. Give me 1 second, guys. So, golly, American Lucha Designs is sending me stuff for new merch for CWF and Action Wrestling. This stuff is looking really good, guys. Really good. Anyway, so I get through that week, pass my simulator stuff and all that shit, and they give you like 30 computerized testings to do. So then at the end of the week, they give you a tour of their facilities, which the Prime Inc. facilities, their main headquarters are based out of Springfield, Missouri. And their main terminal is huge. Huge. So, they take you to what's called the Millennium Building, which is like their amenities building. That's where they have their cafeteria, which you can get any damn thing you want in this cafeteria. You could get, they have a company store with all their stuff, nice merchandise with the Prime logo. All of it's tax deductible. You could get, they have a full-on basketball court. They have showers. They have bunk rooms. They have a movie theater, a full-on movie theater in this place. This place is like truck driver heaven. They have an embroidery shop in case you want to get something embroidered or whatever. They have that. They have a full-on gym in there where you could go work out. So it's very nice stuff. They treat their employees well. They really do. So then they explained to us how the Prime Student Driver PSD phase works. And how this works is, now that you have your permit, now that you've done all the computer stuff and everything like that, you are going to get assigned a trainer, or what they call an instructor. This instructor is supposed to take you out for 3 to 4 weeks, basically teach you how to drive a truck, bring you back to Missouri for 2 to 3 days to practice your backing maneuvers for the DMV test. And then you test out with DMV and get your actual license. So the instructor that they stuck me with, and I say stuck me with because more on that in a moment, is named Richard. I will not say his last name, but let me just say this. If you go to work for Prime Inc. and you're getting your CDL through them, and you get a CDL instructor who is a bald guy with a goatee named Richard, who basically thinks he's fucking John Wayne, refuse him. Say no thank you. There's far better instructors out there than this guy. This guy treated me like I was a fucking field hand for 4 weeks. This is the only bad experience I had with the company, guys. This is the only thing I really have to bitch about. Everything else was awesome. You know, the company itself is good. It's owned by a guy named Rob Lowe. And if that name sounds familiar, the guy had a horse in the Kentucky Derby this year. So he's rich as a mofo. He doesn't have to be in those headquarters like he is every day. He could sit back and collect the rest of his life. But he's really, really invested in it. And it's nice to find a company that's really invested in their employees and treats you like family. This guy goes and plays basketball every day with whoever happens to be in the gym. His employees. He'll play basketball, and he'll talk shit to you, too. He'll flat out tell you, if you're no good, he'll flat out tell you, man, get the fuck off my court. You know? He'll talk trash with you. It's the only guy where every Friday the company holds a safety meeting and gives you free breakfast. So naturally I get the fucking steak and eggs every Friday if I'm there. But at the end of the safety meeting, the owner of the company, the guy started the company with 2 dump trucks and has grown to almost 7,000 units on the road right now. He's the only owner of the company that will stand up in front of everybody and go, I'm glad you chose us. Welcome to all the new people. You're like family now. You're going to get rid of us before we get rid of you. Thank you for everything you do for me. Thank you for everything you do for this company. You know, he's a really stand-up, no bullshit guy. And I got to meet him. I got to shake his hand. How often do you really get to meet the owner of the company and bullshit with him over a cup of coffee? You know, no other company in the world, I think, lets you have that kind of access to the owner. He has an open-door policy. So anyway, I get on the truck with Richard, and Richard, he tells me that, okay, it's going to be a few days before you actually get behind the wheel. Fine. I'm thinking 2 days tops, I'll be behind the wheel driving the truck because I have to have a certain amount of hours behind the wheel before they'll let me come back and test for DMV. 5 days later, at 3 a.m. in the morning, I'm tired as fuck, and I finally get to drive this guy's rig. And he's got a real old school looking Peterbilt that can't, I hated this truck. I hated it. Hated shifting it, hated driving it, hated handling it, hated having him sit in the seat beside me bitching at me the entire fucking time. Because he's an owner-operator and is so temperamental about his rig. I got sick and tired of hearing, this thing is getting paid off in October, you watch it. Dude, if you're that temperamental, don't be a fucking trainer. This is why I think that in the trucking industry, owner-operators or lease operators should not be trainers. Why? Because they're paying for the rig. And they're going to be temperamental as hell about it. So anyway, 3 weeks passes. Or 2 weeks pass. I've driven the truck a total of 10 hours in 2 weeks. Keep in mind, I'm on this truck 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, 10 hours, 2 weeks. Memorial Day is coming up here in the States. He decides, I'm going to get a load to Georgia and go home for Memorial Day. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to put me up in a hotel, which is what I would do, which is common courtesy. No, I'm not going to go to a hotel. He proceeds to tell me and drop the news to me that I'm going to be sitting in the fucking truck at a truck stop in the middle of fucking nowhere with nothing but the truck stop and a Waffle House across the street for 2 days. So keep in mind, at this point, I have a learner's permit, which means I'm not allowed to be behind that wheel. I'm not allowed to even be in that driver's seat without him sitting next to me in the passenger seat. So if the truck stop comes out and says, hey, you got to move this rig, we need the parking space for something, I can't move it. Somebody wants to come and steal the load that's under me? Go ahead, have it. It's not my fucking truck. It's not my responsibility. So I end up calling my dispatcher, who is also his dispatcher, while I'm have some alone time, and I'm like, look, y'all need to bring me back to Missouri and get me a new trainer. I know I'm not an official company employee yet until I get my license, but I've driven the truck 10 hours in 2 weeks. He's left me at a truck, in the truck, while he's all fucking around on holiday. It's not working for me. Me and him really aren't getting along. It's a personalities clash. He's treating me like I'm a damn, every time I'd ask a question, he's looking at me like I got, steam and turns hanging out of my mouth. Or if I goof up on something, he shoots me the same look. And I'm the type of person where, look, don't drag shit out. If I fuck up, say, hey, you fucked up on X, Y, and Z, here's how you fix it. Don't drag it out. Don't proceed to treat me like I'm a fucking kid. Tell me what I did wrong. Tell me how to fix it. Move forward. So the dispatcher says, look, okay, we'll get you a new trainer. We'll route you to Missouri. So here it is, week 3. They're routing me to Missouri. All the while, this guy thinks I'm going to Missouri to test out. This guy actually thinks that I'm going to go test out on his truck. So I break the news to him right before we go to Missouri. I pack up all my shit, and I'm like, dude, I want a new trainer. You talk to me like I'm a fucking kid. That needs to change. I said, you haven't let me drive. I've only backed the truck up, put the truck in reverse with me behind the wheel twice. I'm not learning what I need to learn. I'm not getting the drive time in. I want a new trainer. And of course, oh God, you'd have thought somebody killed this man's dog. He gets all pissed off, and we barely say 2 words to each other. Going to Missouri, and get to Missouri, and the leader of the fucking PSD program sits us down, and I roll everything out to him. I was like, look, I want a new trainer, and I want, somebody who's actually going to teach me how to drive and get me my CDL license. And of course, then they do not put me with a new trainer. They do what's called an eval to see where I'm at the time. Keep in mind, I'd already learned to drive a truck before, so I already had driving experience. I know how to drive the truck I know how to drive the truck. I know how to do what's called a pre-trip on the truck, a pre-trip inspection on the truck, which is where for DMV you have to point out every single part, almost every single part of the truck, tell them what the part is and what to look for as far as brakes or anything like that goes. Look it up. It's a mess to learn. It's a memorization act. The only thing I really had to work on is my backing maneuvers for this test. So they say, oh, well, you've come a long way since you started. And I proceed to tell them, no, I already fucking knew how to do this shit. Well, we're not going to put you with a new trainer this late in the game. You don't really have the driving hours you need. So we're going to take you and him, and we're going to put you back out for another week. So I proceeded to have to spend another week on the truck with Captain Asshole. That's what I'll call him now, for lack of a better term. Captain Asshole. So what they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I survived the week with Captain Asshole, got back to Missouri, took my test, and got my CDL. So finally, I got to get rid of Captain Asshole. So the next phase of the program that they put you through is what's called the TNT phase, Trainer in Trainee, which means I am now officially a prime company employee. I'm now actually making money doing this. I'll go ahead and say it. I'm right now that I'm in this phase, I'm making a guaranteed $700 a week, which is nice, seeing as how I have been unemployed since about October or November of last year. So I spend about a week in Missouri waiting on a trainer after I test out and everything, and I meet my trainer, and Actually, I'll go back. The day I got my CDL, I went and got a steak at the restaurant there at the Millennium Building. They'll cook you a steak any way you want it. I mean, it was a nice steak too, nice ribeye. And that night I had heartburn, really bad heartburn. And it finally went away after a couple hours, and it was fine. A few days later, I meet my trainer, my new trainer now, who is his name is Dennis, and he couldn't be a nicer guy. He's fucking awesome. He's teaching me everything I need to know about the company. He's teaching me how to back up the truck. He's got an automatic truck, which means no shifting, which is fucking nice as hell, guys. If anybody ever tries to steer you away from an automatic truck, don't listen to them. They're just some old timers who don't want things to change, and they want things to stay the way they are in truck driving. Them good old boys. Automatic trucks are nice, especially the newer ones. I mean, I'm getting to drive a 2019 Freightliner. It's beautiful. So I meet my trainer, and let's see, when was this? I want to say this was on like the 21st or 22nd of June. And he buys me dinner there. They were having steak tips. Really nice steak tips there. And he bought me my dinner, which is what a trainer would do for you. Hey, welcome. Let me buy you dinner, whatever the case may be. It was nice. So that night, I start having really bad heartburn again. This time it goes from heartburn to a full-on pain around my chest area, all the way around my back, everywhere. I mean, it felt like somebody was sticking a hot knife through me all the way around. I go up to the front desk and I'm like, is there a shuttle or something that could take me to the hospital? He said, no, but are you having acid reflux? Because he could see, the guy at the front desk could see I was in pain. I was like, yeah, I think it's just acid reflux. I said, do you have any like Pepto-Bismol for sale around here or something? Because the Walmart that they had up the street was not open 24 hours, shockingly. So he's like, nah, but I got some Tums back here. So he gave me a couple Tums. I went back to the room, and I stayed up all night long. I think I actually passed out from being in so much pain for like an hour. At 4 o'clock in the morning, finally I'm like, fuck it. This pain is just so unbearable, guys. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I'm like, all right, fine. So I go pack up all my things, my essentials like my phone, my license, and all that shit. And I go to the front desk and I was like, look, dude, you need to call me that ambulance now. So he's like, okay, cool. Calls an ambulance. My first time ever in the back of an ambulance, guys. First ever ambulance ride. It was freaky as hell. In so much pain, they prop you up on this gurney as you're riding, and it hurts just to sit up. At this point, it hurts to take deep breaths. I'm taking really shallow breaths, almost like a dog panting. That's how I looked. I'm sweating bullets from all this. I am not looking good. They're telling me, quit taking shallow breaths. You're going to hyperventilate. And I'm like, I can't breathe otherwise. I ended up throwing up on the way to the hospital. That's how much pain I was in. It was a mess. Oh, man, was it a mess. Worst pain ever. So I get to the hospital there in Missouri. It's a foreign hospital. I don't know none of these people. I don't know where I'm at. And they do a chest x-ray on me. They shoot me up full of morphine, which was a fucking trip. Let's just put it this way. I really don't remember much about that hospital stay because I was high as a kite. And they were like, yeah, this will be in your system for 6 to 8 hours. It was in there for about maybe 12 to 13 hours. So they do the chest x-ray on me. Then they proceed to do an ultrasound on me, like I'm having a baby or something. Come back, the doctor's like, well, you have gallstones. Your gallbladder has stones in it, and there's fluid around it, which means there's a potential for it to become infected. They said, we really would like for you to stay here and have gallbladder surgery, but it's going to be about a 3-week recovery. And I'm like, well, The company that I'm working for is not going to put me up in their hotel for 3 weeks and watch after me while I recover from surgery. And I don't know anybody around here, so I'm like, could you, give me something that will control this? You're telling me it's not that bad. When I get back, I'll get the company to route me home and or to send me home, or basically I didn't know what the company was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to be fired or what, because working in telemarketing or in the working from home from over the phone for the last 5 years, those companies don't care if you're sick or having surgery. They'll fire you. They don't care if you have 1 million doctor's notes. They'll fire you. So I'm used to that mentality. So I'm like, oh, God, I'm fired. I just got hired with the company. I just got my CDL. I just signed tax information paperwork. I just got hired. And now I'm going to get fired because of a fucking gallbladder. Talk to my dispatcher. Talk to everybody else. They're like, no, you're not going to be fired. We're going to go ahead and route you home. It'll take about a week to get you there. But if you can make it that long, you could jump off the truck. We'll let you have your surgery. We'll let you recover. We'll let you come back up, pick up where you left off, because during this TNT phase, I have to have 30,000 miles under my belt before I can go and get my own truck and do my own thing. So I felt really bad for my new trainer because I just met the guy not 12 hours earlier, and I'm already in the hospital, and it's embarrassing as fuck. But he's cool about it. So the first load that we get, believe it or not, in the trucking industry, sometimes it's better to go west if you want to go east. So we drive. I'm feeling a little bit better by this point. The morphine had finally wore off. I'm not in pain. They tell me to stay away from fatty foods and stuff like that, which, dude, I eat at fucking truck stops every night. That's not happening. So the first place they send us is California, which is awesome. And I'll have some, I put pictures up on Twitter. If you follow me, at Joe Pillow to Post, it's up on your screens right now. I will periodically post pictures from my journey out there. Now, keep in mind, I'm working. I'm not traveling, but I do get to see some pretty cool shit. So we go to California, and it's like every time I eat something, when my body goes to digest it, it hurts a little bit. And for those who don't know what a gallbladder is, it's a pretty nasty thing. I'll get into it a little bit because I don't want to gross everybody out too much, but it basically is a filter for your bile. Basically, it digests fat and filters your poo. Okay, that's what a gallbladder does. So I'm sitting around with a fucked up gallbladder in me. It's fucking gross and it hurts. So finally, we go from California to Maine. So we drive clear across the country. Spend a couple days in Maine. Go from Maine to Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania to Georgia. And then finally from Georgia, they're going to route me back home. Cool. And this was last week, like a week and a half ago. I just got off the truck last Wednesday. So I've been off the truck for about a week. Actually, today is 1 week since I had my surgery. So on the 27th, I get off the truck. I'm feeling okay. I'm like, I know I got to go to the doctor. I had all the doctor's appointments scheduled. I had my surgery, my pre-op schedule with the surgeon, everything. I was going to get the gallbladder taken off. I was supposed to have my surgery today. So I was hungry as hell when I got off the truck because, got to back up a minute, the night before in Georgia, I had another gallstone attack and had to be rushed to the hospital again. They dope me up again, and they tell me this time, they didn't do an ultrasound on me or anything like that, but they were like, we can either take it out of you or we could give you relief until you get home tomorrow. I'm like, give me the relief. I want to have the surgery in my hometown, in my home hospital, where I know some people and they could take care of me. So they shoot me up full of morphine again. I spend the next 24 hours basically on the damn truck, loopy as hell. My trainer is driving. I'm in the back, loopy as fuck. We finally make it to Virginia. I get off the truck. My girlfriend picks me up, and I tell her, hey, I just got paid. Let me take the family out to dinner. I haven't seen you guys in 2 months, or about a month. Yeah, about 2 months. So we go to Olive Garden. And for those who know me, know I love Olive Garden. I know it's about as Italian as fucking hell. It's not even Italian. It's nowhere close to being Italian, but I love Olive Garden. Go to Olive Garden, I have some soup and some pasta and pig out because I haven't had such a good meal in a month and a half because I've been eating at truck stops and shit. And that night, I lay down at about 10 o'clock. 4 o'clock in the morning, sure enough, another fucking gallstone attack hits me, and I tell my girlfriend, okay, that's it. You're taking me to the hospital, and they're going to remove this thing. So I get to the hospital here in Danville. I show them the notes from Missouri. They're like, it's been a week since that shit happened. We don't want to see it. We're going to do our own testing. Of course, because they want my money. So they do another ultrasound. They do a chest x-ray, all right there in the hospital room, and they're like, yeah. By this time, my gallbladder had now had double the stones in it. The stones that were originally in there have doubled in size, and it is now full-blown infected. It's gangrenous, they said. Or one step away from being gangrenous. It's infected. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, the doctor says, we're going to call our surgeon, and we're going to prep you for surgery. We're going to see when we can get you in. They called my surgeon in. Her name was Tara. It's Tara. Awesome woman. She's pregnant. Shout out to Tara, man. She took care of me. So they dragged this pregnant surgeon out of bed at 4 a.m. to come meet with me and tell me how this surgery's going to go. And she says, we're going to take you down there. We're going to prep you. We're going to take it out of you. She goes, we may have to do the old slice and dice on you, but hopefully we'll be able to take it out what they call ultrascopically. Basically, they take it out through your belly button. They make an incision in your belly button, and they make 3 other small incisions where cameras and tools go and on your stomach. By this time, I'm like, whatever, because they've shot me full of pain medicine again. My girlfriend is sitting there beside me, watching me literally high as a kite, flirting with every nurse that comes in the room. Because when I get high up on drugs, hide your wives, boys and girls. So they the last thing I remember was that about my girlfriend is like, let me know when they come in to prep you from surgery. I got to go back to work. So she goes back to work, which she had working in the office right down the block. About 30 minutes after she leaves, I call her and go, you need to get back here. They're prepping me for surgery now. They tell me to take my pants off, take everything off of my hospital gown. So I'm doing my best to cover my fat, doughy ass up and pray to God they don't see my penis and all this shit, because it's nothing much to see, but it doesn't mean that I want to flash it to the whole world. So they take me and wheel me back to pre-op. Anesthesiologist comes in and goes, okay, you need this, and I'm freaking out because this is the first surgery I've ever had. Well, not the first surgery I ever had, but the last surgery I had was my tonsils taken out when I was 2. So obviously I don't remember it. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, my biggest fear with surgery is waking up on the operating table while they have me cut open, because I saw years ago, 2020 did a piece on people who woke up while they were getting gastric bypass surgery and shit. Woke up on the operating table while they were still cut open because the anesthesia had worn off. And I looked at the anesthesiologist. I'm like, sock it to me, dude. Please make sure I don't wake up. Nah, you're not going to wake up, dude. You're not going to wake up. They put the thing in the IV and inject me full of some shit. And I see the surgeon again. She's like, all right, we're going to do this, let's go. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. I was already sleeping at that, like falling in and out of sleep at that point because of the drugs they had me on. So the next thing, I remember them wheeling my gurney, my hospital bed, down into the surgery room. Actually, I don't even remember hitting the surgery room. I remember them turning from where they had me parked at, and that was it. The next thing I remember is a mask coming over my face, and I remember a voice going, all right, Joe, take deep breaths. I went out again, and they told me, you're going to wake up on the operating table, but it's just to make sure that you can wake up, and then we're going to put you right back out. They're like, you probably won't even remember waking up on the operating table. I remember waking up on the operating table. It looked like I was underwater, and I'm thrashing around because I have a tube in my throat. And the reason why I have a tube down my throat is because they told me that I stopped breathing 3 times during the surgery. Which is odd because I've never ever had a history of like sleep apnea. And maybe it was the anesthetic that they had me on, but they said I stopped breathing 3 times during the surgery. So they had to put a tube down my throat to help me breathe. So I remember thrashing around, and I remember people going, "It's okay, Joe, just calm down. It's all right. Everything went good." And then, bam, I'm back out. And the next thing I remember is waking up in a recovery room. Again, high as a kite. My throat is sore as fuck from where they've had this tube down my throat. And I'm back to flirting with the nurses. I told a 50-year-old woman that she was fucking cute and that I wanted to have dinner with her. So my girlfriend says. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. Because, I mean, whatever. But it's like, I'm in La La Land. And they said the first person I asked for was her. So that's cool, I guess. I mean, that's nice of me. So they wheel me back to my room. My girlfriend's there. And I look at my stomach. And there's a little hole in my belly button. And there's a little hole, 2 little holes on the right side of my belly. And there's a big-ass incision. Not a big incision, but it's about a good 1.5 inches long on the top of my belly, like right on my chest. Turns out my gallbladder was so inflamed and so big and full of gallstones that they could not take it out through my belly button. They had to take it out through a bigger incision in my chest. They shaved my stomach, so I came out of... My hair is starting to grow back on my belly. I look like fucking Buddha when I came out the damn room. Yeah, keyhole surgery is what the layman term for it is. But basically, they just take it out through a small incision. It's nothing like it used to be. My mother had a hook, looked like Captain Hook had gotten across her side when I was kids, when she had hers taken out. They used to gut you like a fucking fish, but not anymore. So of course I spend the first night in the hospital, loopy as fuck. I get to go home the next morning, and I've been kind of home ever since. Right after we got home, my girlfriend had planned a vacation for the kids to go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for the 4th of July holiday. And I was lucky enough to where I could still drive. I have to sit, even now at night, I have to sleep with a pillow across my stomach to give me some pressure there so it doesn't hurt as bad. So I rented a car, got my own hotel room down there because they had already made arrangements with her mother or whatever, and got to spend some time on the beach with my family and recover, which was nice. And we got back yesterday from the beach. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I actually have a doctor's appointment with my surgeon tomorrow. I need to find the paper and find out what time that appointment is. Basically to go over the recovery, see where we're at with the incisions and everything. I thought I was going to have stitches. They don't. They did the super glue gimmick. So I got like 3-4 patches of super glue. The incisions are starting to itch like crazy, and I can't scratch them. I could barely get into the ocean because I can't get them wet. I was not allowed to shower for like 48 hours after the surgery, which just sucks. And now it's a matter of low-fat diet for the next 3 weeks. I'm out of work for the next 3 weeks. And getting back to the truck driving side of things, the company Prime Inc. has been nothing but cool with me. Nothing but cool. I called my fleet manager. Shout out to Jared. Said, here's what's happened. He goes, just check in with me. Let me know what the recovery time looks like. You get better so we can get you back out there making money. Cool. I have no, he's like, your health comes first. He goes, you could finish up to 30,000 miles whenever you want to. He goes, do not rush back. Because the last thing we need is you sitting out in the middle of somewhere and having another complication. Make sure you're 100% before you decide to come back. So I thought that was cool of him. So then they, so that's the way things are now. I go tomorrow for my post-op visit. And hopefully in another 2 weeks, I'll be back on the truck doing my thing. And so, so that's, oh, wow, the dog who played Duke in the Bush's Baked Beans commercial died. Anyway, but, so yeah, that's been my journey for the last 2 months since I stopped this podcasting deal. And it's been a hell of a roller coaster, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but I'm here, I made it. I got my CDL back. Here's the thing. In 2013, when I gave up my CDL, I thought my health has gone to shit. I weigh too much. I'll never be able to be in this industry again. And besides the gallbladder deal, I'm under 300 pounds. For the first time in I don't know how long, I actually weigh 288. If I could get down to 275, I would be fucking in love with myself. I have my CDL again. I have a job that I missed doing that I love to do. You're still alive. That's amazing. That's right, Stone Man. And I don't have to listen to customers bitching and cursing at me in my ear because their fucking Wi-Fi isn't working. I'm in a job where there is no Wi-Fi. You have no Wi-Fi out there on the road. I mean, that's why, I'm looking forward to switching cell phone companies, because right now I have Boost Mobile, and if you go west of the Mississippi, you're fucked pretty much with them. It may be better now that I got a new phone. The Bluetooth is certainly better. I will never go back to an iPhone again, guys. Androids are just way better for truck drivers. They have better apps. It's better layout. Google, like being able to look at my phone and go, okay, Google, call such and such without having to push a button is really cool. But anyway, they life for me has, with all the downs and everything, life for me the last 2 months has probably been the best quality of life I've had in about 10 years. So that's where I've been for, for the last month and a half. I'm actually, the company that I'm with right now, I only get paid that $700 a week as long as I'm on the truck. If you're not on the truck, it boils down to about $100 a day. You're guaranteed the $700 as long as you're on the truck. Well, I have not been on the truck for a week. So because I was on the truck last Wednesday at the beginning of a pay period, I'm probably only going to make $100. So I called my fleet manager. I was like, look, I need more money than that. I got a family, So I was like, can y'all cut me a little bit of an advance? And he goes, we normally don't do that for TNT students, but this is a special occasion. Call back tomorrow, speak with whoever. They'll get in touch with Jared, and we maybe can get it done for you. Because even my fleet manager's like, you're only going to make about $100. Obviously, you need more money than that. That's how good this company takes care of you. To have your boss sit there and go, yeah, you can't live off $100. Let's see what we can do. Now, obviously, it's in advance, and I'm going to have to pay that money back. But the company is willing to work with me, and they're willing to see that I'm taken care of, and they're willing to see that I get a good recovery. And I couldn't ask for anything better from these guys so far, man. Everybody's just been so nice to me, except for that one fucking instance of that 1 month. But other than those 4 weeks that I was on that asshole's truck, Captain Asshole's truck, this company has treated me like a fucking family, and I could not ask for more. They were able to get me my CDL license back, which I said before, I never thought I would have again. I never thought I would be in this industry again. This industry has advanced so much within the last 6 years. It's so much better. The truck stops are starting to take so much better of their drivers just from a diet standpoint, they're starting to input more salads and fresh made sandwiches and stuff. You don't have to eat a fucking pile of grease out on the road every day anymore. now granted, with me being in my training phase, they treat it like a team driving truck, so the truck never really stops. So it's basically I've been eating Subway for like the last fucking month or for the last 2 weeks. But, you know, I for the next few weeks, I got to watch what I eat, no fat, you know, stuff like that, and I'll get there. My family actually has a better quality of life with, you know, I hate to say it, they needed a break from me just as much as I needed a break from them because, you know, me and my girlfriend and I, we've been working from home ever since we met, you know, for the last 6 years pretty much. We've both been working from home. We've never had any kind of, you know, me time apart from each other. So this has given us that, and I think it's made our relationship better. I'm not saying it's a total fix to things, but it's made it a little bit better. What else? I'm thinking about doing what Prime calls their success leasing program, where I will be leasing a truck instead of being a company driver. And what that means is, you know how you can go and lease a car for 3 to 4 years, turn it in, start a new lease, and get a new car? Same thing with trucks. I'm going to be having about an $1,100 a week. Yes, $1,100 a week truck payment. But I'll also be responsible for the upkeep of the truck, my fuel, any kind of like business expenses, you know, parts, whatever. I'm responsible for that. But here's the kicker. Prime takes care of everything for you. It all comes out. They take care of all the paperwork. They get you your permits. They've negotiated. They have what's called a fuel surcharge, which means if you drive by a truck stop and they say diesel's $3.78 a gallon, I'm not paying $3.78 a gallon. I'm paying whatever fuel surcharge that the company has going on right now and has negotiated with these truck stops, which is generally, I've never seen it above $2.75 a gallon for diesel, which is fucking cheap right now. But, you know, with all the great responsibilities comes great power, you know. With great power comes great responsibility. Well, the great power part of this is I get to come home whenever I want to. All I got to do is say, hey, I want to take home time. Route me there. And they're like, okay. If I don't want to go to a certain part of the country, New York, okay, where do you want to go? We'll see if we can get you freight there. Now, I may be sitting for a few days waiting on a load to get me there, but they'll get you there. Case in point, when I came in and tried to get rid of Captain Asshole, and they said, oh, well, no, we're going to send you back out for a week, he did not want to go to the Northeast. And they told him, well, every load we have right now is going to the Northeast. And he's like, I don't want it, because you have the ability to refuse loads. It's ill-advised, but you have that ability. You have that freedom. You have that power, that great power, because there's no forced dispatch. So they were like, well, check with driver lineup and see what they got over there. Check with the driver lineup. Driver lineup says, how would you like to bobtail, which is just a truck, no trailer, out to Utah to pick up a brand new trailer? And people are sitting there going, well, they're not going to pay you for bobtailing. Yeah, the dude got paid $4,000 to bobtail, or excuse me, not $4,000. He got paid about $1,600 just to drive from Utah, or from Springfield, Missouri to Salt Lake City, Utah, with no trailer, no load under him, nothing. And because he's bobtailing, he's going to save on fuel. We were getting like 12 to 13 miles to the gallon on fuel. So they paid him about $1,600 to pick up that load, and then they got him a load going from there to Iowa. By the end, and then he went other places, routing me back to Missouri. By the end of the week, because you get paid a certain percentage of the load, you get paid, like when they send you a load, you get paid 72% of that load. So let's say Prime charges, let's say you want Prime to haul a load from point A to point B. And you negotiate that deal with Prime and says, okay, Prime goes, okay, we negotiated this deal. We're going to charge you $100 to haul that load from A to B. And then that load going from A to B is going to flash across my Qualcomm. And because I'm leasing, I get 72% out of that $100. So I get $72. And the other, you do the math, the other chunk of that goes to Prime. But Prime says, wait a minute, we're also going to negotiate with the company a fuel cost and a maintenance cost and everything, and tolls and everything like that. So you get kind of money to cover your fuel, cover your tolls, and all that. The last week that I was on Captain Asshole's truck, he started laughing when payday came. And I'm like, what's so funny, dude? Because I'm thinking he got stiffed or something. He goes, oh man, I'm just laughing because I can't believe I get to do this for a living. And he turns the screen around of the computer inside the truck, the Qualcomm. He cleared after the truck payment, after the fuel cost, after his emergency fund, his tire fund, all that shit, insurance, everything. He brung home $4,000 in 1 week. Company drivers are only going to bring home $1,500 to $2,000 a week if you're lucky. So that's why I think I'm going lease. And with the lease deal, if I ever want to walk away from it, I can always walk away from it with no consequences, nothing bad on my credit, and nothing like that. So that's always good. And so I think I'm going to get to do that. And, I get to create my own LLC, my own business, all that good stuff. So that's where I'm at. That's going to be in about another 5.5 weeks once I get this training stuff done. So once I recover, get back on the truck, it's probably going to be September before I get my own truck. And then I probably, because when you're lease, that truck payment doesn't stop. When you come home, let's say I decide to come home for a week, I'm still responsible for that $1,100, $1,200 truck payment. It's like leasing a car. You may not be, or a car payment. You may not be driving it, but you're still responsible for making the payments on that lease. So typically a lease driver stays out about 6 to 8 weeks at a time and then gets to come home for about 4 or 5 days. My current trainer stays out for 3 months at a time, comes home for a week. So I plan on, once I leave here, I'm going to probably be leaving here the last week of July. I don't plan on coming home till Christmas. Because A, I love the life out there on the road. I love being out on the road. And B, if I'm going to make enough money to, come home, I plan on taking my family to Gatlinburg, Tennessee for a week at Christmas time. So the week after Christmas, pretty much leading up into New Year's. And if I want to be able to afford that, I have to work. I have to be out there hauling stuff. There's an old saying in trucking. If the wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning. So right now I'm not earning any money because I'm not on the truck. That's why I'm having to take a cash advance to get me through the next 2 weeks. So anyway, I'm real happy where I'm at right now. I'm glad I didn't have a gallbladder bust open inside my body. That would have been fucking gross. So hopefully it's going to be positives from here on out. Brighter days ahead. Going to be making a lot more money. And how this is going to work is if I can get a decent phone service and everything, if I could get decent phone service, I'll be able to turn my phone into a hotspot and I'll be able to record pre-recorded podcasts about my journeys out there on the road, and I'll be able to upload them to YouTube or Twitch or whatever the case may be, probably YouTube. Another thing is stay glued to my Twitter because you never know what I'm going to post on there from where I'm at. I just posted pictures from when I was in Myrtle Beach the other day. I was beach bumming it, and I got to do some pretty cool shit over the weekend. I got to hang out with the family. My in-laws have a Boston Terrier, so you'll see pictures on there of me and Bayer, the Boston Terrier. He's awesome, and I got a video up there that I recorded from our balconies. So, it's been good. It's been awesome. I actually put pictures of my scars up on YouTube. I don't show my belly often, but I did put pictures of my scars up there. If you scroll through my Twitter feed, hashtag #ChicksDigScars. But yeah, not even gallbladder surgery was going to fucking keep me away from CWF Saturday, and it didn't. I got to see, all my CWF family, except for Jason Gallo, who didn't show up. I heard his wife was ill. I hope she's okay. That's a valid excuse. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I will probably do another podcast before I leave, because I do need to catch up on some WWE stuff, and I've heard it's been horrible lately. I really heard it was horrible. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here for the night. I would like to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I would like to thank you guys for the well wishes, those of you who did wish me well on Twitter and everything. Thank you so much. And we will see you down the road.